Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Caruso III, and I am the publisher of the Capital Sports Report. I am also the host of the Capital Sports Report Live. Tonight, I am joined by top alcohol funny car driver and Arizona resident, Hunter Jones. Welcome to the show tonight, Hunter.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Hunter, how did you get started in racing?
So racing kind of goes back to where, I've been around cars my entire life. It all started with my father. Frankly, he would actually hung up his fire suit by the time I was born, but, he took us to races and met a bunch of people that he knew racing with back in the day. So I kind of got my taste for it very, very early. And we actually kicked off racing with not drag racing. We were involved in go-karts, my nephew and myself. We raced down here at our local track in Tucson, Musselman Honda Circuit. And we competed for about 2 years. I was younger. It didn't really feel like my speed. Had a lot of fun, but, I just didn't have that pure connection to it. So I wanted to try something else. So what we ended up doing was just within the same district was the drag strip, and we went out there one day back in 2000, I think 2009, and got to take a look at some of that. And we were watching some of the door cars and the dragsters, and all those classes go. And then we saw this class come up that I had never heard of, junior dragster. So I was like, okay, these things are cool. So we watched, I think it was first round, and when we got done, we went down to the pits. We're talking to some of the families, the parents, and asking what's the program like, the organization, what's the sport about, and it sounded awesome. We were absolutely hooked. So we ended up within about somewhere between 2 weeks and 2 months, we actually purchased our first junior dragster, and we've been kind of going since then. So I kind of started my drag racing career around 2009, which came to a close about 2015. So I think it's at 6-7 years or so. That's kind of where it all started, just in the young days, from go-karts to juniors.
And I don't know if you know this, but the Junior Dragster program was started here in New Jersey, maybe about 45 minutes north from me at Old Bridge Township Raceway Park, and now defunct drag strip. But it was started there by one of the Knapp sons and Jill McKenna, and they they started the Junior Dragster program, and now it's like almost 30 years later.
That's crazy. I didn't know exactly where it started, but that's incredible to know.
Yeah, because in 2017, when we were when I was covering the race, they had a special junior honor program. Like they honored the juniors for the media day, and it was like 25 years in 2017. So we're approaching like 50, not 50, but 30 years next year or maybe this year is the 30-year program of the Junior Dragster program. So pretty neat.
Either way, fantastic. I mean, it's a great organization.
Yes. You mentioned go-karts. And a lot of drivers actually get their start in go-karts. You see a lot of professional drivers actually start off there, and a lot of them go off to like NASCAR and stuff, but a lot of them start in go-karts.
Yeah, no, go-karts kind of became the initial idea because so between I'm a third generation drag racer, a racer in my family. We're up to 4 generations. First generation started with my grandfather and my dad's side. He was actually a drag racer most of his entire life. And followed my father, who was in drag racing, but kind of like the exact opposite of me, wasn't necessarily his vibe. And he got really big into road racing and circuit racing. He drove Formula Fords. I could name a couple other classes, but couldn't think of them off the top of my head. So road racing really kind of got involved, really played a big factor into his life. So hence why the idea to put us through that aspect of it first, because that's familiar with. And it was a really cool experience. I mean, it definitely taught me a lot about driving, period. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, drag racing is not easy by any means. No matter what there's so much that goes into it. Whether you're a heads-up racer, a bracket racer, whatever the case may be. But with go-karts, taking turns at certain miles an hour and weight distribution and this and that, and there's so many factors. So it really helped me learn a lot about, minus the sport, but just racing in general. So it was definitely a cool starting point for me, and it definitely helped, improve my mindset and my knowledge as far as cars, motorsports, race cars, anything goes. So it was definitely cool to start there, but then the juniors obviously took place, and there was really no turning back there. I was hooked the second we started doing that.
You mentioned that you're a third generation racer with your grandfather and your father. And you see that
Yes.
in racing, whether it's NASCAR, whether it's a drag racing, it's passed down to their children. And now you're following in their footsteps. So it's got to be pretty special for you to
Mhm.
be able to do this.
It really is. I mean, and it's nice to. It wasn't something that was ever pushed on us, myself, as well as my nieces and nephews, um, and siblings that started racing as well through the coming years. It was something that he gave us the choice, and it just worked out real well. But it's cool, fourth generation, and I'm sure we'll carry to a fifth and a sixth and so on. It's something within us that we love as a family, and it's really helped bring us closer together. That's the cool thing about racing is, I don't know what it is, but it's a family sport. Whether it's by blood or by people you meet, everybody's there for you. Everybody has their back. It's really cool to see how the world of motorsports really carries from families and generations, and how it prolongs through life. It's a cool thing.
You have a picture on your Facebook page where you're hugging your father, and there's also other pictures where like Billy and Steve Torrance are hugging each other. So you see this a lot in drag racing and forms of motorsports where like it's got to be very special for the father to see their son or daughter performing well in their sport that they chose to pursue.
Yeah. Like I said, family's a big thing in this sport, and I get everything that I have been blessed with in the motorsports world is because of, and besides his knowledge and inspiration, but the fact that he loves to just watch myself and the rest of us kids really drive forward in this lifestyle of racing. And like I said, he hung up his fire chute and his shoes and helmet before I never got the chance to really witness him behind the wheel. And we try to push him so much, but he just gets so much love and enjoyment watching us and seeing us smile and do the things that we do. So yeah, those kind of moments we share a lot of, whether it's hugging on the starting line at the top end, in the pits between him and myself, my mother, my sister, my guys. Like it's definitely a very racing has a big emotional bond, and so it's really cool to see how people react when certain things happen, or from the first time I made a pass in juniors to funny cars, first round win, first things like that. There's a lot of emotion that goes into it. So seeing the expression on his face, knowing how much he's done for me, it really makes it worth it.
Do you have a special moment from the drag strip that you have shared with your father or grandfather?
No, my father, I've had plenty. I mean, there's so many you could count. We won our first junior championship. That was a real emotional one. I mean, I don't really think. I mean, all the junior stuff, it was kind of, it was kind of cool to see. But I think the funny car stuff was definitely more of an emotional step. Because I mean, there were tears shed between us after the first pass down the track testing for licensing. First time we qualified for a national event. First time we won a round. We went to the finals last year in Vegas. There's so many great moments between him and I that pick anyone specific. Like I think every time we go out there, something new happens, something that really is heart stopping for both of us, and we share that moment together.
You are a part of Jones Racing outside of your top alcohol funny car. You also have a junior dragster and a junior street car that your sister and your niece
Yep.
drive. Could you talk about when you're not racing, still being at the drag strip and helping the next generation along?
Yeah, helping the next generation is a big part of my life, whether it's my family or it's just good friends. But them in specifics. So with Mackenzie, my sister, she is 15 years old, and my niece Aubrey, who is 16. Um, Both of them, yeah, they both got started about roughly the same time. I believe Aubrey, my niece, got started a year before. They both some series along with my niece Aubrey, she is 16. She has her license, so she competes in the high school ranks. And my sister, who is 15, she competes in junior street ranks. So then they both just drive daily in those classes, and they've done pretty well. I believe they're both in the top five points, at least as far as our local series goes down here in those classes. And they both done really well in the juniors throughout their careers. Both of them, I believe. I know Aubrey had been I believe the first 4 or 5 years of her junior career ended up running up in 2 series championships, and my sister Mackenzie won a local series championship, I believe her first or second year, and she's sitting, I believe, second or third in points right now, hoping to take another. So, but of helping them, just because those are my roots, that's where I originated. That's where I grew the love for this sport, and to see them do it and really want to learn and listen and be educated on how and do certain things, how these cars react and how they work. Because juniors compared to say what it's a whole different drive. Bracket racing is a sport that takes a lot of education, a lot of patience, and a lot of learning, and they're really starting to pick up on that with age. So being able to help them and educate them, and them sit and listen and want to ask questions and learn from me, it's really cool. But that's a lot of my spare time. So if I'm not working or I'm not racing, we're usually out doing something with them. We do a lot more local stuff with them right now. I believe we're considering going out and running for some division championships next year as part of junior ranks, because they know they've really worked their butts off and they've really wanted to take a shot at it. So we're looking at possibly getting that going next year. But as far as they go, like with them, keeping them going in the ranks, and I know that they would like to grow. As far as any other kid too, we get a lot of kids that come out to the track and getting licensed, have no idea what they're getting into, and it's nice to them. Give them the few pointers, especially the parents too. They come out super excited because it's a fun bonding moment with their kids. But yeah, being able to work with the kids, especially my family, it definitely makes it that much more special.
You said one is 15 and one is 16. They have about approximately 2 to 3 years left in the series before they age out. Do you know if they have talked or you guys have talked about potentially what's next after the juniors for them?
So they have their ideas of what they want to do. My niece Aubrey, I'm not quite sure what she wants to do. I definitely know she would really like to get involved in Super Comp, which is one of the classes I did shortly after I completed juniors. We got into the funny car thing. She really likes that. I did Frank Holly School. I definitely know we're going to put both of them through that, because it was without a doubt the most educational thing I've ever done. I mean, don't get me I'm the kind of kid who didn't like classrooms growing up through school. I just love the action, all the fun stuff. But man, sitting through that class, it was one of the most impressive things I've ever been a part of. So we definitely want to put them through that, no matter what direction they go. But I believe they're both looking at wanting to get involved in Super Comp. I know Mackenzie, my sister, definitely has a drive, because we went from she wanted to be a top fuel driver to a top alcohol dragster, and now she wants to see to my funny car. So that'll be interesting in the coming years. She'll get a shot at that more than likely. But realistically, they have their ambitions and their dreams just like me. And as long as they continue to have that drive and that passion, and we can make it work, we will. But I definitely see Mackenzie getting behind the wheel of top alcohol funny car one of these days within the near future.
She wants to take your job.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that day will come. But for right now, I'm happy in the seat. But when she's ready for that chance, we'll give it to her. That's for sure. She deserves it.
Have they competed in the Junior Dragster Western Finals? I know they have one here in Bristol for the East. Have they competed in the Western version, because you're in Arizona, so they'll compete in the Western one?
No, so actually, that's one of the few races that we wanted to go to. I didn't get a chance to do it myself, and we had talked about doing it with them for so many years. But usually about the time September comes in, our fall funny car schedule kicks in, so that kind of takes some priority. But this year, we really want to give them that crack. So we're actually strongly considering going down there with them, letting them take a shot at some of the competition that comes down to races like that. So we're definitely considering that this year. And like I said, next year we're definitely considering running some divisionals with them. But in the current time, no, we haven't. But that's definitely something on the bucket list for them.
Very soon, Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park will be going away. It'll be redeveloped and it would no longer be a drag strip. What is your thoughts as an Arizonian who has likely competed there? What is your thoughts on that drag strip going away?
So that's definitely an emotional topic. I mean, like my home track has been Tucson Dragway, but as far as the funny car scene goes, that's Wild Horse Pass is my home track. That's where I did. Um, that's where I actually made uh, many of passes. That was where I actually debuted. We debuted as an alcohol funny car team in Wild Horse Pass in 2018 at the regional event in February. So yeah, that place holds a big part of my heart. It's an amazing facility. The people have been nothing less than kind from the first time I've been there to the last there. So it's going to be an interesting seeing it go away. It's very unfortunate because you're seeing a lot of races across the country. I was really hoping that wasn't going to be one, but you know, it kind of just is what it is, and we just move forward and let it be what it is. But that place will be something that holds a lot of memories and a lot of love that I will hold a lot of love for.
As a racer, when you see these tracks going away, we have Houston going away, Wild Horse Pass going away, maybe some other minor, I shouldn't say minor, but other small drag strips may go away in the future. What is your thoughts on these drag strips that are either going into a storage facility like we've had here in New Jersey with Old Bridge Township Raceway Park? That they put junk, not, well, I don't know if they're junk cars, but they're storage cars for auctions. And then you got all this
Mm-hmm.
oil and everything else that seeps into the ground. Um,
Yeah.
and then they tried to do the same thing at ACO, where I'll be in a few weeks, and they wanted to do the same thing there, but thankfully they have a Pinelands commission, and the
Mm-hmm.
Pinelands were like, "No, we're not having that." So as a racer, when you hear and see these tracks going away, it's got to be I don't know, it'd be emotional. Well, Wild Horse Pass, yes, be emotional for you, but when you are a racer and you see a lot of these tracks going away, it's gotta hurt and be like, why is all these tracks going away? I understand it comes down to money, but I need a place to race.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm sure it comes down to a lot of things. I'm sure money might be one of the things, but a lot of them. I feel like a lot of it may come down to this county, as far as decisions, as well as residential neighborhoods. I know that's has been a big factor in a lot of this too as well. Um, but no, it's not necessarily fully emotional, but because especially being as young as I am, getting involved, I wanted, I want to travel as much as possible. And there's a lot of tracks that I really wanted to, go to, and that kind of this makes it kind of hard, places to experience and race and compete at. Houston, for example, like you mentioned, was one I wanted to go to this year. Unfortunately, we couldn't put it together, so that's one I'm not going to get a chance to do. Along with so many others. And frankly, I hope that this slows down, because you're right. That is the big thing. Where are you going to race? What are you going to do? I mean, even besides on the like Pro Series or Sportsman Series, I mean, a lot of these tracks are, I mean, we actually had something down here in Tucson where the Sheriff's Department, along with the Tucson Police Department, put together a deal out at Tucson Dragway. It was basically like can't remember what it was called, it was like a beat theaters, like Beat the Streets or something like that, because when the tracks were shut down for a short period of time due to the county, there was a lot more street racing going on. And don't get me wrong, I know everybody has their aspects and things they like to do, but I mean, it is a dangerous thing to do out on the street. So that's another reason why a lot of these local drag strips, even these small local drag strips, these beat the heat and prevent illegal street racing. So I mean, that's kind of the thing. The more of these you take away, the more that's going to happen. So I think that's one of the bigger factors there. But yeah, as far as that goes for things like that, and us pro and sportsman racers, it definitely makes it kind of heavy, because again, we got to have somewhere to race, we have somewhere to compete. If this sport's going to continue to grow, and as long as this is happening, I don't see it growing much. So there's got to be a way to make it work. There's got to be a way to get some of these tracks to stick around. And I hope we can figure it out, because the last thing I want to see is drag racing end up in the shadows, because this is without a doubt the baddest motorsport that's ever existed.
I agree. It's a lot of fun covering you guys, but it's also, I hate to say this, but we all know the risk it's a very dangerous sport that we're all involved in, And well, as a photographer, a writer, and you as a racer, there's always risk for everything. So it's
Mhm.
got to. We all know the risks when we go to these events and how everything could happen, but we don't look at those. So we just like focus on what we got to do, and that's it.
Yep. Nope. You're not wrong. There are a lot of risks that come with going that. As far as you could be anywhere from a racer to a spectator. Yeah, there's anything can happen in a facility like this. But that's what we're all prepared for, and we still go because it's so fun.
Yes. You mentioned Houston. I understand that while right now, there is no national event scheduled for next season. There is an event or a few events that I understand will be happening before they officially close next season. And it's like a Tech 2K or something like that kind of event.
Hmm.
Have you
I
heard of
feel
it?
like I might have heard something. I feel like I might have heard something about that. I mean, not too much as far as what the schedule or what might unfold as far as Houston goes. I've kind of heard the same thing about Wild Horse too. There's rumors going around that the national event's going to be the last race and it's done. There's rumors there's going to be a team schedule, some simple things, but I'm sure it's just going to be all up in the air until a final decision is really
Okay.
made by the track officials in the city. But
I understand that racetrack, Wild Horse Pass, is on like tribal land.
yeah, it actually is. It is sitting on tribal land. So a lot of it, I mean, because there's been rumors around Wild Horse going away for quite some time, at least over the last 10 years, if not longer. And they always seem to find a way to continue to make it work. I'm not quite sure how that all works, but I've heard it's going to go away and it comes back, goes away, comes back. But this time, it really seems like this is going to be it, and that's what everybody else is thinking. So maybe we'll get lucky and it sticks around for another few years at least. But like I said, we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yes. Next year, the NHRA has released the first four national events. So instead of starting the season at Pomona, they'll start the season in March at the Gator Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe it
Yeah,
was Gators, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and then Pomona.
I think that sounds right. I thought it was, and you could be very right. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look myself, but I know the Gators are definitely the first race of the year, which actually
Yeah.
sounds a little more convenient instead of having to go from west to west,
Yeah.
west, east, back to
I've
west.
always wondered that. Like, what the
Yeah.
heck are they doing?
I think it was 2020 or something like that. They started in Gainesville, which made a lot more sense to me. Start there and then come to the
Yeah.
West Coast and let's get all that done and then start making our way back over. So, but yeah, I know it
Yeah.
was the Gators, and I think it was supposed to be the Gators, Phoenix, Vegas, or Phoenix. Sorry, Gators, Phoenix, Pomona, Vegas, something like that. But yeah, roughly around that. I did see that those four races were dropped. I'm excited to see the rest of it come hopefully sooner than later too, because we're definitely going to start putting our schedule together.
I'm actually going to see if I can pull it up real fast. When you saw that
Okay.
Phoenix was the third race next season, what's your thoughts on that?
It was interesting. I mean, I'm used to I'm because I mean, as far as the alcohol class goes, we don't have a seat in the national event. We have the regional that's normally the week after. But yeah, it was kind of weird because you're so used to, especially me growing up, going to the national event as a kid. It was always the second race. Excuse me. It was always the second race. It always fell in February. I mean, I don't know how much you know about Arizona, but it's hot out here, even in the wintertime. So when that sun starts beaten, from there's between March and February in Arizona. That's for sure. So it was different for sure. But like I said, I think it's going to be kind of it's a little more convenient now that they're going to start on one end of the country, come over, and then make your way back instead of trying to hop back forth. So
Yeah, well, I'll give up on looking at it, but I thought they had. Oh, here we go. I got it.
all right.
It says Gainesville, Arizona. Gainesville, Arizona. Then Pomona, and then Las Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, that
That's
sounded about right. I thought I might have said that. I might not have, but yeah, that sounds right.
yeah, and then they got to change the the Winter National because it's no longer
Yeah.
winter. It's an April 2nd.
Yeah, whatever it was, like this year when it was held in, or this year, not this year, last year when it was held.
Last summer it was in
I
July,
believe
and
in
it was the
July.
Winter Nationals.
The not so winter nationals, like
Yeah, it was like 100.
Pomona, California, 90 something degree heat.
Yeah,
Yeah, or 100-degree heat. Yeah, no. 100-degree heat when you're wearing 20 layers is not nice. We were actually in Wild Horse last year because they had the race in September, I believe, and I think the lowest temperature day last year for the Wild Horse race was 114. It was
114.
I think it was like for between the 3 or 4 days. I think it was the 3 days. It was like 113, 116, 114. It was miserable. We probably went through like, and it's myself, my folks, and our team, which is consisted of about 5 people. So you're looking at 7, 8 people all together. I mean, it's a local race in a sense for us, so we have a lot of people come down. But between just the team, we probably went through like 8, 10 cases of water. It's dehydrating. It was hot. It was nasty.
It felt like 100 degrees today in New Jersey, but it was like 90 degrees. But with the humidity, it was like 100.
Yeah,
And we
no, we
had
got a little lucky. We got some weather coming in, so it's still hot, but it's real humid. So it's 72, but it's not a nice 72. You know what I mean?
we've had a heat wave for like 7 straight days. It's been brutal here, but hopefully
Ugh,
that'll be
nasty.
changing. On Saturday, it was like 100 and something, and then add in the humidity. Whew.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much what it's like down here. You guys have up there the monsoon season down here. So it's just hot and humid as possibly can be, and it usually falls between July and August, and within those 2 months, it's just miserable.
As a team owner, or your family's the team owner of Jones Racing, you have to deal with circumstances this year that you normally don't face. And when with the inflation and prices so high, or I need this part, but I can't get it for 6 months. How are you guys
Right.
coping with that? How are you guys dealing with that?
So it's a hard thing, for sure. We do have some good connections and some good people that really help us the best they can. But it is definitely a hard thing to do, whether it's, anywhere between rods and pistons to oil to, you name it. It's very hard to get a lot of things right now. So we're kind of just piecing it together as best we can and doing what we can. We haven't done this year as we'd like to. Mainly just because, as far as inflation goes, you have the issue with parts and products, even traveling. I mean, gas prices, to say the least, like it just makes it all that much harder to do. So it's definitely taking a toll on us, and I know it's a lot of teams as well. But we're chugging through. We're putting together everything we need. It's like I said, it is hard, but we'll going to make it work. We always do. It's the nice thing again with having all these teams that are like family. We all stay within some group, or communicate back and forth. And everybody's there to help each other. If a guy can't make a race because he couldn't get a hold of this, somebody is bound to help. Or if you guys at a race and this comes down, everybody helps. So we all together as one big unit. I like to think that the alcohol class, and really any class in the NHRA. In any other motorsport, really, I like to think they're all like that.
Yes.
Everybody just lends a helping hand. Everybody's competition, but the competition kicks in on the starting line. Otherwise, you're in the pits. Everybody's there to help. So to have that support from everybody makes it nice, and to have the good people that really really back us and support us as far as sponsor and partnership goes. That helps a lot. But we're trying to put as much as we can together right now, and like everybody else. So it's hard, but we always figure out. We'll end up at the racetrack one way or another.
Yes, and I've seen some big rigs. Whether it's Street Outlaws, No Prep King drivers, or sprint car drivers, they're like, oh, look at my gas tank and how much it fills up with diesel. It's like $1,000+ dollars.
Yeah,
It's like insane.
That's a hard number to look at, really. I mean, yeah, that's a big part of it, though. I mean, traveling. I mean, everything's got to get there somehow. So with the expenses to travel, again, that's just another thing that makes you have to step back and think like you didn't have to do a couple years ago. It's definitely a lot harder to do nowadays.
Well, I don't know if you still have it, but I know that you have like an enclosed trailer, so that may help on expenses because a lot of these teams and big teams they have toter homes or big
Mhm.
rigs, and it costs them way more than maybe you with a truck and a trailer going to a race.
Yeah, we have sleeping quarters in our rig, but a lot of it, especially because we care about our guys, so we'll put them in hotel rooms rather than shove them in something like that. And that's just us. That's just our opinion. They work their butts off, so the least you can do is give them a nice seat room and a nice shower. You know what I mean? So, um, but yeah, no, a lot of those teams we don't have a big toter or a big rig or anything like that. We have a decent size setup that gets us from A to B, and it works for what we got. So, um, but yeah.
This weekend, Top Alcohol Funny Cars returned to Seattle for the first time in 3 years because the national event wasn't there
Mhm.
since 2019. But there's only 6 cars on the entry list, and as we talked about before the show, there's some events that have 16 or more cars, and
Mhm.
then other events you'll have like 5 or 6 or like 4. It's
Yeah.
very weird on like cars not wanting to show up or however they decide wherever I'm going is where I'm going. But what is your thoughts on that?
That's I do see that a lot, and I've talked to a couple guys that have been seeing that too. That the address that as well, but a lot of that comes with more of the big wigs. That's more of their speed to talk about. But it's from what I can see from the outside, kind of looking in, it's kind of a situation. I feel like as far as the distance, I mean, like Seattle, for example. I mean, that's all the way northwest side of the country. So that's definitely a if you were to it's like guys going to go from Florida to there is definitely a haul. Um, but I know I've seen that with a few races. Houston was one as well. I think they had 5 or 6 cars in Houston, and a couple races. But you're right. Every now and then they'll have a good 14, 15, maybe 18 car field in the dragsters as well as the funny cars. But other races, you'd be lucky to find 4 or 5. So, and I'm sure a lot of that may have to do with, again, with the travel expenses and getting from A to B. A lot of it also has to do with crossing schedules as far as the regionals and the national events take place. And I know a lot of that happens every now and then. So, but yeah, no, it's kind of a pain. It'd be nice to really see a lot more consistency in the classes. That's for sure. Just because it's a great sport. It should be more of a growing sport than us having to deal with something like this. Because don't get me wrong, it's nice to go out there and it'd be a low car count, makes it a little easier on you for the weekend. But at the same time, it's the competition. It's seeing people that you love and you care about. It's what the fans want to see. It's what everybody wants to see. Is they want to see 16 cars on the ladder and they want to see 4 rounds of racing, good competitive racing. And it's hard to see that when there's such low car counts. So I hope there's a way that can change. Um, you know. But as far as a solution for that, I'm sure some of the big wigs, some of the guys that are veterans of this sport and that have been dealing with this a lot and have had a lot of conversations, whether it be with the NHRA or racetracks or whatever the case may be, will figure something out. And I really hope they do because it'd be nice to start going to events and seeing some large car counts again.
Could it potentially be, if it's not inflation or the parts problem, could it potentially be that they need a larger purse and a larger amount of money for the winner? Could that
Eh,
potentially help?
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a money talk in some cases, because I mean, it takes a lot to do this. It's a big difference when you're running a low budget deal, and this compared to somebody who runs a full season. And money does play a big portion of that. So whether it's something that you can come up with financially on your own, or you rely on a lot of us is relying on as much sponsorship as we can because we are one of those low budget teams. We try to go out and do as much as we possibly can, but it can be hard. So yeah, potentially that could be one of the causes. Because trust me, I'm sure if we were able to put together something really good with some really trustworthy people, we'd probably be out there doing a lot more than we do right now. Um, but yeah, I mean, the money talks in this sport. It's just kind of the thing. It's just definitely a very expensive sport, but it's just something that everybody loves so much that we'll do anything for it. So yeah, definitely. I guess having a larger purse can probably make it a little easier. But I mean, also a lot of it has to do with You know, I mean, it's kind of a hard one to explain. You know, I mean, money can buy transportation, money can't buy talent, though. I think talent comes from within. As much motivation as you possibly have to go out there and be the best you can be, and that's kind of how I like to see myself as someone
Okay.
who really gives it my all when I'm there. I don't do it for me. I do it for my team. I do it for the people. It's They do it for me. I feel like I at least deserve to give them the best possible situation they can. Sorry, I kind of steered off there a little bit, but
It's okay because I know like these cars that you have with the parts and everything. Okay, they're not the expensive cars you see in the pro classes, but they're still expensive to drive one of these things. And if you're only like you got to pay an entry fee, and you got to have a sponsor to maybe help with that, or you're financially well off, you can do it yourself. But to go rounds to qualify, that's several rounds of racing, and then you got the elimination, and that could be anywhere between a couple rounds to 4 rounds, and you're gonna spend, I don't know, 20 grand or more for a weekend. So if there was a larger purse, I don't know what they could put up at the NHRA, but I'm sure they got some money over there somewheres that they could put up to maybe help you guys or do something to maybe increase the schedule. And I know when or increase maybe the money. And I know when like Pro Stock was complaining about 24 races, then they're like, oh, I don't want to go to this race. And like a lot of drivers were starting like, oh, I might retire or I might do something else. And all of a sudden, oh, we got 18 races now. So they could do something for you.
yeah, I mean, you think it's. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against the NHRA as far as whether they can make it easier or not. I mean, they're the reason we get to do what we love to do, and they help with that a lot. I mean, but yeah, a lot. It's definitely hard. You think it would be nice for certain things because you're right. It is you got entry fees. You got your team. You got to get them to and from the racetrack. You got to feed them. And that's just that. And then you're talking about round by round parts you need to get while you're there that you didn't bring, anything you have to get after if you hurt something. So it can definitely it can add up. So but no, the NHRA itself they're very great about it. I know they respect their racers and they appreciate everything that they do. We do for them like they do for us. I'm sure some things could be different, but it's definitely not my place to say what it could or wouldn't couldn't. I don't get paid to do that. I don't even get paid to drive the race car. I just go out there and do it because I love it. But it's there's a lot of things that can come into talks with that. It's a lot harder, especially to pull some sponsorship through alcohol. It's you go to these national events and everybody loves watching the pros, and I got nothing against the pros. I love them all. I'm great friends with a lot of them. But they want to see the 330 mile an hour nitro burn and big header flames. With alcohol, we're there, and we make a stand, and a lot of people watch us. A lot of people respect us. We definitely try to put on the best show we possibly can. But as far as marketing and media goes, it's a lot of it's surrounded by pro drivers. So it's definitely. I think personally, it favors them a little bit more than us, but trade does definitely stick their back out for us and do what they can to make sure that we're happy as racers, along with the sportsman guys too. So for now, I'm happy with the way everything is. If something could change a little easier, better on guys, that would be awesome. But in the meantime, we'll just do the best we can to get out there and sponsors happy and make fans happy.
The one thing that I hate, and I've been covering this sport for about 15 and a half years, and I've covered a lot of national events since then, is you'll see, like you talked about, the pros. When you see like Nitro and Funny Car go, and like they'll put the bikes and the pro stock cars in front of them, but if they are, as soon as they're done, no, the fans leave and say, I'm going to the pits, and they don't care what else is coming up next. They go to the pits and want to see what the crews are doing or talk to the drivers.
Oh yeah,
it's like kind of like sad for you guys because like you could be coming up next and they're like not even interested.
But when I was a kid, I was the same way. Don't get me wrong. Like that's what I loved. I mean, I know can't speak for all the adults, but I can admit that's what I loved. I loved the nitro cars. I didn't really have much of a love for pro stock motorcycle alcohol or the sportsman cars. I love that, because it's media driven. You hear about them constantly, so those are the people you grow up watching. That's how it was. Like I was a humongous John Force fan growing up still. And I love the guy. And then, down the road, I got to be friends with a lot of the other big drivers and like Matt Hagan and guys like that, Tony Schumacher. And but no, I mean, as a kid though, that's what I love to see. So you're right. So it kind of sucks, sitting there. You watch all these filled from end to end, and they watch all these nitro cars go, and then as soon as the last pair goes, you just watch them all flood down the staircase out behind the stands to go to the pit. So it's definitely a little demeaning because you want people there watching, cheering. It makes it that one. Like my first national event was a whole different ball game than anything I ever done. I mean, the stands are just so full. You know what I mean? So it's an intimidating thing, but it's also at this point now, it's the coolest thing in the world. You do your burnout and you go and you just see from end to end. There's people just like clapping and it's cool. So yeah, it's definitely kind of hurts a little bit to kind of see them walk away and go, strictly have one specific mindset. But I understand it from a personal point of view because I was like that at one point in time until I got older and really started to understand the sport, realize these other classes to where, hey, dude, I'm not a good spectator, but if I'm there and I'm not racing, I'll watch everything from dragsters down to ComPT or anything lower. It's all fun to me now, but it's just, yeah.
Hunter, this weekend at the Northwest Nationals in your class, Doug Gordon, who goes to like every race with his Beta bicycle sponsorship, Brian Howe, he's out there in the Pacific Northwest, so he has the it's not really too far for him. I think he's from Oregon, right? He's up there, so it's not too far for him to go. Nick Januick, I believe he's out from Las Vegas. Chris Marshall, he's from Oregon. He also does the Midwest drag racing series. He's with Steve.
I've heard a lot about that.
He's doing Marshall's driving Chris Gasparella's top alcohol funny car.
Yeah, the Gasparelli funny car. Yep.
Mike Dush. I don't know how to say his name. Mike D.
Union. Yeah, yes. Mikey D. We call him Mikey D. He's a good guy. Yeah.
And then Jack Gajugolo or something.
Oh, Jake. I don't know actually how to pronounce his last name either. Jake. But Jake's a great guy though too. I've met him once or twice. Yeah, really good guy.
Yeah. So there's only six cars there in your class, and today was the deadline to enter. So hopefully maybe they'll get another one or two, but if the deadline is already passed, there's likelihood you can't get back in unless you're a champion. So we'll see how that all goes. But like you said, we don't know how these things go because like one race you can have a whole bunch of cars and then the next week you don't. And like in a few weeks in the divisional, when I cover Ackler's divisional here in like 2 weeks, we might have 6 to 8 funny cars here. So you never know. It's all like a coin flip of who's going to be here.
It's nice. Right. I mean, sometimes 6 to 8 cars is okay, depending on what kind of event you're running, because you got the regionals, and that's half the field. So it's an 8-card field as far as the alcohol class goes. So, at least you get a full field and a full show as far as that goes. But you put 6 to 8 cars into a national event, it makes for a short weekend. In some cases that's nice, but as far as the sport, the sport being what it's supposed to be, it a little what's the word for it? I can't think of the word for it. It doesn't make it as fun, because it's nice to go out and compete and have as many people there as possible and really want to fight to get into that show, which we've been able to do a couple times and we've been able to make it in. But it's actually a little bit more of a adrenaline rush in a sense, because you beat yourself into that category.
Yes.
You earned it. You didn't just show up to qualify. And again, it's nice every now and then, but when you get the chance to actually find that spot, it makes that much more sweet.
You said early on that you're a small budget team, and
Mhm.
for every racer, no matter what level you are on, their goal, the ultimate goal, is to go to the U.S. Nationals, and well, it's not in Indy, but it's close by Indianapolis.
Right.
What would it mean to you if you had the opportunity to compete there?
A lot, honestly, like because that's I mean it's the Super Bowl of drag racing. It's the big go. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely the race that everybody wants to go to, and we've talked about it for a few years. Like we'll put schedule, 'cause majority of our schedule sticks closer to the west side of the country, just because it's convenient for us. But we'll always put like one or two right back east that we really want to go to, and I think Indy makes that list every year just because it's that race, you know. So like, when you know the one day comes and we get the chance to go do that, um, you know, I'll be all for it. It would be an absolute. It would be probably one of my greatest memories. That's definitely on the drag racing bucket list for myself, and I'm sure it is for anybody who hasn't had the chance to go yet.
Could you do that with your current support, or you would have to go out and find new sponsors to potentially make that happen?
We could probably do it with our current support. It makes it a little harder, obviously, just because we're traveling a little bit more than we normally anticipate. So it definitely can cause a little bit of an issue, but I'm sure we could do it if we really wanted to. Um, Having that extra bit of support though, if we were to find somebody that was willing to take that chance on us, somebody that really saw something, it'd make it a lot more easier. I mean, frankly, if we could get together a lot of those people, which we consistently do every year. I mean, we love our partners, the people we have, and the people that we get the chance to grow with, whether it be later this year or next year, or they're like family to us, and we treat them like that. So if we could find a way to get that together, we'd definitely do a lot more racing away from Tucson, Arizona, and from the west coast of the country.
Would you like to potentially go into like Doug Gordon? He's out of California, but he races all over the place. Would you like to be like a full time racer one day?
Oh yeah, that's the dream for me. I mean, like this has been my life since I was a kid, and I don't get me wrong, I love everything that I do, but I mean, if I could tell people that racing was my day job, I would. In a second, it's just so much fun. Any chance I get to get in the seat is the best day of my life. So if I could find a way to make that work, I absolutely would.
Sponsors, you need to help this guy.
I'm a reliable man. I mean, I'll take care of you. I'll do my best to make sure that you're proud and that your product's displaced. But it's just a point of getting in with the right people and talking to them, and then like I said, them chance on you. So, but it would be awesome. It would be great. We hunt, we advertise, we do everything in our power to make sure that people are happy, so that we can continue to do what we do.
Have you seen, or when you have talked to sponsors, have you seen because of hopefully we're at the tail end of the craziness that we've been dealing with the past 2 years? Have you seen
Mhm.
where maybe sponsors are more not lenient, but they're more willing to give out money this year than they were the past 2 years?
Roughly, I mean, it kind of just again depends on the company and what direction they're really looking into, because a lot of things come into sponsorship. Because once in the way I see it, you basically become the face of a business in that point. So and like I said, I do everything in my power to make sure that I'm the best face. I have the best face I can put on for a company that's going to support me. I've seen a lot more uncommon businesses kind of get involved into the sport this year compared to say the last 2 years. Um, because majority that you notice as far as drag racing goes, a lot of it is strictly auto related. So to actually now this year kind of see a lot more businesses come out that aren't auto related and are willing to take a chance on the sport, and teams and drivers is kind of nice to see. So yeah, I'd say that a lot of people have kind of come out of their shell over the last 2 years to get involved, at least more than they were then, especially with everything going on. And hopefully it continues to go that way.
Yes, I've seen that as well. Like um, with Tony Schumacher, for
Hmm.
example, now he has got like a lawnmower sponsor and
Yeah,
Skag.
yeah. Same thing with like
And
Brittany
like
Forest and
he thought
Flavor
about that
Pack,
one.
and yeah,
Yeah,
Brittany Forest and Flavor Pack. A lot of teams like that,
yeah.
they good kind of a lot of people, you really haven't seen much of in like drag racing, or kind of stepping in the waters and giving it a chance, and it's nice to see. You look at sports like NASCAR, for example. I mean, NASCAR sponsorships anything from the largest parts supplier to dog food. And so it'd be really cool to see a lot more companies that are, a little more out of the comfort zone of, the auto world branch into drag racing
Do
and
you think
NHRA,
that
because that definitely help prolong the sport.
do you think there may be some like hesitation from a sponsor who has maybe they like say you pitch to them and pitch to a non-traditional sponsor, whether it be like a fast food place
Mhm.
or dog food or whatever,
Sure.
and they they they've never done this before, and you talk to them. Do you think that there may be some hesitation to come on board because they're like, what are we getting ourselves into?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it definitely has to do with the atmosphere because, businesses have to think about what to say their product or their brand is and compare how well they think it's going to work in an atmosphere like drag racing. I really think a lot of it, though, and this is just my opinion, has to do with, the person or the team that's going to be representing that brand. Because a lot of it, that's what it is, it's brand representation. Show this company that you're willing to take their brand or their product as far as possible and doing everything you can to make sure it is out there, it is known, it is done, it's done correctly. If you can do all that, I don't see why there should be much
Okay,
hesitation. And that's what I try to do every time I approach a new business. So
Hunter. Last year you said, well, you touched on it, but last year you went to the final round in Las Vegas in October. What was that experience like for you and your team?
it was another stepping stone. It was a surreal moment. It was very intense. We were very. It was a speechless time. It was weird. Normally we'll get to the top end and a lot's said, a lot's talked about, but we were emotional for sure. And it's another one of those emotional moments I share with my family and my guys. But majority of it was just focus and go. It was like we've done it before. You know what I mean? So it's like as soon as we got, as soon as the wind light came on, they were in the truck. They came to get me. We were in the pits and they were getting ready. There was no this or that, no hesitation, no nothing. Let's get ready. Let's get ready. It's like my guys are just a big group of professionals. They are so motivated and so inclined to make sure that we do the same thing every time. So going into the final round really didn't feel much more different than going to the next. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure if we could have turned on the win light, because we went against Nick Janik in the final, and Janik is a very well respected racer, and he has one heck of a team, one heck of a car, and he's one heck of a driver. So
I think it's Plan B Racing, isn't it?
yeah, it's Plan B. So it was cool to race him in the final. He was one of the first few people that I actually met when I got into the sport. So it was definitely a cool. It was a nice person to race in the final. Very supportive and motivating the whole time. Um, but I'm sure, but it was just like another round, honestly. I mean, if we could have turned that win line, I'm sure it would have been a whole different box of emotions because I mean, to be able to hold a Wally would be the world to me. And I hope we can get towards that, whether it be the end of this year or starting next year, because we every time we go, we're in drive, we're ready to go, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to win.
And I could be wrong, but also, is it his wife or girlfriend or family member, Tiffany Januik? She did a top alcohol a
Oh,
drag 2 years ago.
yeah, that was yeah, Tiffany. Yeah, Tiffany, I believe is Nick's. I believe it's his ex. If I could be wrong, I'm not going to touch on that subject. But I haven't
I
heard too
don't
much
know. I
about her recent.
saw last name, and I was like, they got to be related somehow.
Well, they
Her,
definitely have a dog together, Peyton, who's an incredible driver.
I actually
I
talked to
know
her.
that, but
I actually interviewed her. She came to here at Tucson Dragway, 16, 17, maybe 18,
okay.
to do the divisional in August. And I talked to her, and I tried to talk to like all the new people that I don't know.
Hmm.
And she was one of the people. I was like, Las Vegas, why are you coming to New Jersey? but she did. So she came here to race.
Nice. Very cool.
Uh,
Yeah, no, I met her a couple times. She's very nice. I know that Nick, as far as his team goes right now, he's got himself and his and then Taylor driving the alcohol dragster right now, who's doing incredible. And then his daughter Peyton, who is I believe she competes in Super Cup and is just about a talented racer as her dad. So, but it's a great family and a great group to compete racing against Nick in that final in Vegas was definitely, it was awesome. We wish it could have gone a different way as far as our favor goes, but it just wasn't our time. And I was very, very, very happy, very proud of Nick for taking home that win like he did. He did great.
Hunter, you have in your backyard, because you're in Tucson, you have Tucson Dragway, a track that's been around for a while. And could you talk about competing there for our audience that might not know? And I believe that's where Alan Reinhardt got his start.
Yeah, Alan's still down here in Tucson too. He's a great guy. I love him. I mean, you think a lot of people know him as the voice of the NHRA, but he's just a stand dude. He's awesome. But no, it's very nice to compete down here. It's a big, small track. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on, a lot of events, minus scene. They do a lot of the street outlaws, no prep, import face-off stuff as well, along with events. But it's definitely a cool facility and a lot of great people. It was SIR, like Southwest International Raceway, for years before it was taken over by the Hughes family, Jim Hughes, and he brought in a really good staff, kept a lot of the great ones as well, and it's only gotten better since then. I believe 2016, 2015, 2016, and so it's definitely a cool place to race. I mean, for a lot of the people that have come down here that are new, I haven't heard anything bad. Tucson Dragway is an amazing facility. I'm very, very proud to call it my home track.
You were talking about a famous TV show that some people either love it or hate it. They're going to be your visitors September 9th and 10th.
Yeah.
Have you, when they're there, if you're not racing, have you actually seen them compete there?
No, not too often, honestly. Actually, I might be thinking something else. Who were we referring to? You mind me asking? I might have been on a different topic there in my head.
Oh, the Street Outlaws No Prep Kings are going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Tucson Dragway September 9th and 10th. And I was asking if you have attended when they went there. Have you attended one of their events when you were off?
Yeah, I did actually attend the first and the second event, the 2 times that they were here. I did not attend last year's event. But it's a really cool vibe, and those guys are cool too. They're just people.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch them on the on the No Prep Kings and on the Street Outlaws show, and it's TV. You expect TV to be TV, but they're all pretty genuine guys. It's a cool event they put on. I'll more than likely be there again this year. Because minus the teams and the guys that are out there racing, I'll help if I can be a helping hand to the facility and to the staff there. I always will be.
So you'll go like park cars or something? Because you said facility.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then, if there's a situation where they need an extra hand down there, I've always offered it to them whenever they need it. So it could be as simple as parking cars or guiding traffic or working concessions or even sweeping the starting line. If there's a way that I can help, I'd be more than willing to. And I've definitely made them very, very well aware of that.
Oh wow. Have they taken you up on that offer?
Every now and then, yeah. Every now and then, sometimes you get volunteered. I mean, majority of the time I am there, though, we are competing. Whether it's myself, I mean, I'm not really competing that much myself. There's not much alcohol racing going on in Tucson, but as far as my siblings and or my sister and my niece go, that's majority of the time we're out there is when they're racing. Because I love being at the racetrack, but every now and then it's nice to just sit and relax on the weekend.
Hunter, why I still have you here for the next few minutes, I want to ask you about this because your top alcohol funny car needs glue to go down this track, and now there's a glue shortage around these tracks. So how does that potentially impact you as a driver?
It definitely can. I mean, as far as minus the fuel guys. I mean, even up and down. I mean, we put down so much power on the track. Glue is definitely something that needs to be a priority. And I've heard about the shortage as far as that goes too. So It seems to me, at least from what I can see and what I've heard, that they're being very NHRA and the tracks are being very considerate with what they got. But it's still enough for it to be safe, because you go out there, at least even with us, between 3,000 and 4,000 horsepower, and you go out there on a very low prep surface, it can be bad news, in a sense. So it hasn't really seemed to be too much of an issue from what I've seen, heard, or even experienced, as much as it may seem to be out there. But I am aware of it. So, but as long as tracks and the NHRA are being considered about what they're using and how they're doing it, and everybody's safe, I mean, everything will be all right. But again, it's another one of those things that I hope comes around to where it gets a lot more easier. Like as far as spray or parts or oils or fuel or anything. It'd be nice to kind of see the normal. You used to be able to make a phone call and cool, it'll be there next day. I'm sorry. So, but yeah, they've been pretty considerate about it from what I understand. So,
when I was talking to Tarek McMillan last week on our show, he talked about how the NHRA has this like one dealer that they use, and they have enough glue to rest them the rest of the season. But like, what does everyone else do when they need glue, like for the divisionals or the weekly tracks? I don't know. We're gonna have to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, you got that one specific dealer. I couldn't tell you who it is, but with the NHRA, and I'm sure it works for them. But there's a lot of things to consider, like the other, or even next season. So if it is something like this shortage continues, but yeah, like again, I haven't heard too much negativity as far as it goes. Everything seems to be going in the right direction, and everybody's being considerate. So I'm sure if it becomes a major issue, it'll be made aware and addressed, and we'll have to take some sort of action to prepare for it, whatever that may be. But as of right now, as long as everybody's chugging and everybody's safe,
yeah,
that works for me.
Maybe that's why they pushed it back another month to March to begin next season. I don't know.
Very possible. Very, very possible. Who knows?
Hunter, you're in your office of your wrap company. Can you tell our audience about your wrap company?
Yeah, sure. No, so Southwestern Wraps is a family-owned business that we actually branched off of another one of our family businesses that's on the race car as well. I got a glare you can't really see, but National Auto Clean Centers. That's been a family business of ours since 2004. We've got three locations looking to add more throughout Tucson. And then Southwest Graphics, though, has been, it started in 2017 with myself as an operator here. And we've been going since 2017, so we'll be hitting year number 5 here as of August 1st. But it started out pretty well. Yeah, we were able to build a really good.
First in a few days.
Yeah, so it'd be nice. 5-year anniversary. It'd be great.
Yeah.
But we've been going pretty strong. We were able to build up some really good clientele, get some really good people in here. I have an amazing staff. They work their butts off from open to close. We've been able to really put together a good operation here. We've actually been named Tucson's number 1 wrap shop 3 years in a row, and hopefully we'll get it again this year within the next month or so. So it's definitely an awesome deal. I mean, if I wasn't, if I don't get that chance to go out and live my racing dream, this is where I'll be. This is home to me.
What does your employees think of you being a drag racer?
We have a lot of us have more of a brotherly bond, so it's more sarcastic and jokes and stuff like that. But they love it. They always ask me questions. They wish me luck on races. They touch base, how'd it go? They're all a very supportive group, and especially, and it's a lot harder, because when I'm gone, it definitely takes a toll on them. So I'm very thankful how much they step up.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. They had to step up when you're away.
Yeah, and they definitely do. They when I'm not here, they know that this place needs to be top priority and make sure it's running and going the right direction. So they do great. I'm very thankful for my guys.
How many employees do you have there?
It's a small business. So with myself, my CSR, who's actually, you might see her on TV if national events are going on. Steve, who's my girlfriend, she's our backup girl on our race team. My graphic artist, and I have 3 installers, vinyl wrap installers.
Okay. Final question for you tonight, Hunter. Every driver wants to potentially, if they had the funds or if they got the call to move up, would like to maybe race in the nitro class or the funny, either the nitro funny car or top fuel dragster. Do you envision yourself potentially doing that? I know some top alcohol dragster people don't want to do that. Like Jackie Frick is one. She was like, "Nah, I don't want to do that. Don't even ask me. I'm not even moving up. I like it here." Have you thought about, or would you even consider one day moving up if you had the opportunity to do so?
I definitely would. I mean, growing up as a kid, it was the nitro cars. I loved everything about it. Funny cars in particular. I love funny cars. But I mean, like Jackie says, I'm very comfortable. She's very comfortable where she's at. I'm very comfortable where I'm at. I love the alcohol class. I love the capability of driving one of these cars. I love the class itself, the people involved in it. From what I hear from a lot of people, a lot of the pro racing is strictly business, and don't get me wrong, business is business. But here I'm happy to do it with my family and my friends, and the team I'm dependent on. But if I did get that call, I think I would definitely try and take opportunity, because that's a big show. That's I think what everybody dreams of doing, one time in their life at least. So, if that opportunity came about, I don't think I could pass it up.
Okay. It might take a lot of
Just
money,
give it a
but
shot.
so either you got to put it up or somebody got to put it up to move up.
Yeah,
Or
man. A lot
some
of
team was like, I got the sponsor. You just
lot
fill
of
the seat.
lot of money. Man, yeah, and it takes a lot of that too. And I know a lot of these guys too in the pro ranks kind of put together their own deals with their own partners too. So
Yeah.
and again, like I said before, I'll be the face of whatever it be to go out there and make my dreams come through. And especially that's supporting a business that's wanting to bring, whether it's an alcohol club in a pro class one day or even anything below. So, but yeah, no, it's definitely an amazing opportunity.
Hunter, thank you for joining us tonight on the Capital Sports Report Live. Outside of being on Facebook Live and YouTube Live right now, this broadcast will be uploaded onto Rumble and BitChute in the next few days. Also, it will be converted into a podcast in audio form on anchor.fm. Thank you again for joining us tonight, Hunter, and good luck the rest of your season and the next weeks and months ahead.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it so much.